Heartwarming twist, poor girl discovers billionaire's hidden test after life-changing gesture. Emily awoke to the sound of her mother's gentle voice reminding her it was time to rise. The sun had barely kissed the small Midwestern town of Maplewood, but Emily was already gearing up for another day of juggling school and work. 17 and weary, she put on her favorite worn-out sneakers, the ones that had seen her through countless early morning shifts at the diner, where she served coffee to sleepy farmers. Today, like every other day, she carried the weight of responsibility on her shoulders. She was the backbone of her single-parent household. As she left the house, she noticed Mrs. Thompson, her elderly neighbor, struggling with 2 grocery bags. Without hesitation, she rushed over, her heart swelling with warmth. "Let me help you, Mrs. T," she exclaimed, taking one of the bags. The old woman's face lit up, revealing a smile that melted Emily's heart. "You're a blessing, Emily. Never forget that." The compliment lingered like sweet summer air, as if she was certain it was Emily's kindness that kept their tiny town alive. In the days leading up to the annual Maplewood Summer Festival, excitement buzzed in the air. Emily helped in preparation, weaving in and out of town, like a thread binding each neighbor with acts of generosity. "This year will be the best yet," she declared, eager to share stories through small conversations and familiar faces. Yet, deep within her, complications brewed, a mixture of excitement and an unrelenting grind to support her family. One fateful evening, while taking out the family garbage, Emily stumbled upon a man in distress. He wore a tattered coat, seeming to blend into the shadows. She approached carefully, her heart racing. "Are you okay? You look like you need some help." He looked up, surprise flickering across his eyes. He was rugged but had an air of calm that made her feel strangely safe. "I'm just lost," he murmured softly. That night, as she shared a meal with him, his genuine gratitude tugged at Emily's heartstrings. She didn't know he was a billionaire masquerading as the downtrodden, testing the kindness of a small-town girl. Yet, as he watched her help her neighbors and youth alike, he felt his heart swell with hope, a reminder of golden intentions hidden deep within humanity. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. As the festival day dawned, Emily's usual joy felt overshadowed by uncertainty. A prestigious scholarship offered by the man she'd helped weighed heavy in her heart. It gleamed with promise but threatened to pull her away from Maplewood, her lifeline. She struggled, pacing between commitments and aspirations. When she later confronted the man amidst the laughter and music of the festival, her emotions spilled over. "Why me?" she demanded, raw honesty in her gaze. He opened his mouth to speak, the air thick with anticipation. "I want you to succeed, but not just for you," he replied. "Investing in you means investing in your community." As her community rallied, sharing stories of how Emily's kindness had touched their lives, she felt torn. Each face around her revealed the fabric of her beloved town. In a moment filled with tension, she stared inward, unable to dismiss the question burning in her heart. Would she choose the life of success shimmering before her, or cling to the roots that made her who she was? The town's stories collided, igniting a passion for unity. A meeting blossomed out of this festival, and Emily stood on the precipice of a life-altering choice, a pathway yet to be paved. What awaited her? Only time would tell. The festival was alive with color, laughter, and the sound of music drifting through the park as Emily stood amid the swirling crowd. Brightly decorated booths showcased homemade goods, while children darted around, their faces painted like tiny superheroes. The air was thick with the scent of funnel cakes and barbecued ribs, enveloping her like a warm hug. Yet, despite the jubilant atmosphere, she felt a storm brewing inside. It was hard to focus on the dancing and shouting all around her. Emily's heart felt heavy with the knowledge of her impending decision. She stepped aside, seeking refuge beneath the shade of an old oak tree. Closed off from the happy chatter, she glanced at the festival unfolding before her, and it struck her just how much she loved this town. The laughter echoed memories of her childhood, memories she cherished dearly. "Hey there!" A familiar voice called out. It was Sarah, her best friend, clutching a stack of carnival tickets. "Come on. You have to check out the Ferris wheel. It's amazing." Emily forced a smile, although the worry in her eyes must have been visible. "I don't know, Sarah. I'm just feeling a little overwhelmed today." Sarah tilted her head, concern clouding her bright blue eyes. "Is it about the scholarship? You know everyone is rooting for you, right?" Emily nodded slowly, feeling the weight of expectations settle on her shoulders. "Yeah, it's a big chance for me, but what if I leave? What if I miss out on all this?" She waved a hand at the bustling village that had nurtured her from the very beginning. "Emily, you have your whole life ahead of you. Maplewood will always be here, but opportunities like this don't come around often." Just then, the man she had helped, a man with a hidden identity, appeared at the edge of the crowd, leaning against a wooden post with his arms crossed. As the sunlight caught his features, he seemed almost out of place amid the festivity, a quiet observer. For a moment, he caught her eye, and something unspoken passed between them. As the festival reached its peak, Emily felt the tug of her heart, overcome by a sense of purpose. She wasn't just being given a scholarship, she was being offered the chance to represent her town and inspire those in it. The thought stirred something powerful within her. "But why me?" she had asked earlier, still perplexed by his intentions. The answer echoed again in her mind: investing in you means investing in your community. She sensed the weight of that responsibility pressing down on her still. Determined, Emily took a deep breath and walked back toward the heart of the festival. Her feet moved with a purpose that felt new, vibrant, alive. She began to approach the groups gathered together, her neighbors, her friends, the little kids running wild with joy. "Listen up!" she shouted, her voice rising over the cheerful commotion. "I know that life is full of difficult choices, but I want to give back to all of you. If I get this scholarship, it's not just for me. It will be for all of us." The crowd quieted, eyes on her. The passion she felt coursed through her veins, igniting excitement and curiosity in those who gathered. Would they support her journey? But as she stood there, the sound of applause ringing out around her, she noticed the man watching intently. Would he understand her commitment to her home? Did he see the sparkle of hope in her eyes, or was he afraid she'd leave it all behind? In that captivating moment, she realized something transformative. Her choice wouldn't lead her away from Maplewood, but rather, it would help forge a new path for them all together. Before she could ponder further, a gentle hand clasped her shoulder. It was Mrs. Thompson, her aged eyes shimmering with pride. "You're not just a spark, Emily. You're the flame. Shine bright." With her heart racing, Emily turned to the crowd again, resolve solidifying within her. She could feel life shifting, possibilities unfurling like flowers in spring. But as she spoke words of empowerment, the man stepped forward, bringing with him another question that loomed larger than all the rest. "Are you ready to embrace the unknown?" he asked, the weight of his gaze both inviting and challenging. Her breath caught in her throat as she contemplated what this meant. Would she step forward or hold on to the familiarity of her roots? The audience hung breathlessly, waiting for her to answer. What lay ahead for Emily at this crossroads of hope and uncertainty? Emily's heart drummed in her chest, reverberating with the magnitude of his question. Everything hung in the balance: her hopes, her fears, and her unwavering love for Maplewood. The sun dipped slightly, casting a golden glow on her friends and neighbors, their faces a mixture of anticipation and encouragement. "Embrace the unknown," she whispered, the words tasting strange on her tongue. She glanced around at the familiar faces, each one a small piece of her history. Her voice steadied as she spoke louder. I think I am. I'm ready to take that leap. Even if it means stepping away for a while, I want to explore what's out there. A collective gasp rippled through the crowd, followed by enthusiastic cheers. Relief washed over her like a warm wave, the worry in her heart slowly easing. But when she glanced back at the man, she saw a flicker of something. Would he still see her as passionate, or only reluctant to stay at home? His eyes reflected a storm of emotions. She could sense his doubt mingled with admiration. To combat her anxiety, Emily straightened her shoulders. I promise to come back. I carry this town with me. You will always be my inspiration. Laughter erupted from Sarah, and others clapped in agreement. Mrs. Thompson nodded approvingly, her eyes glistening, and the laughter brought a release of pent-up tension inside Emily. Yet, the man stepped closer, intrigue forming a bridge between them. You truly mean it? He asked, his voice low yet compelling. That you would return to Maplewood and share what you learn? Absolutely. I can't imagine abandoning everything. My roots there about more than just a town. They're about you all. The festival now pulsed with life, excitement buzzing in the air. People began to chat among themselves. She could hear whispered dreams, plans and hopes, as if her declaration had ignited something deep inside everyone. He nodded slowly, a half-smile curling on his lips. Then you are already on the right path. But remember. A brief silence fell, and Emily felt the weight of his gaze on her once more. Life will test you. Every step you take could lead you closer to who you are meant to be or take you further from it. The crowd buzzed back to life, but his words lingered in her heart, a contradiction fluttering within her. Challenge and opportunity coiled together like a vine reaching toward the sun. Does that scare you? He asked, his voice gentle yet clear, cutting through the noise. Emily met his gaze, her heart finally steady, wisdom blossoming within her. Maybe a little. But that's what makes it exciting. As she turned back to the crowd, the sound of cheering morphed into a steady rhythm, like a heartbeat of her community. They were in this together. Each cheerful face fueled her resolve. But just then, a loud crash echoed from a nearby stall, drawing everyone's attention. A child's scream cut through the laughter, and Emily felt a rush of urgency. Without thinking, she dashed toward the source of the noise. Sarah! Come on! She shouted, weaving expertly through the thick crowd. As they reached the stall, they found a toppled display of pies and startled families. But among the chaos, Emily's gaze landed on something or someone unfamiliar. A boy, no older than 8, stood frozen, tears streaming down his dirty cheeks. Hey, it's okay, Emily said, kneeling down to his level, her heart softening seeing his distress and realizing he might be alone. The festival's vibrant glow dimmed as she focused on his innocent yet tormented expression. How could she help him? Would you like a piece of pie? She asked gently, trying to coax him out of his fear. He sniffled and shook his head. She could feel the festival's energy pulling her back, but all she wanted was to save that flicker of hope in his eyes. In that moment, as the laughter faded and uncertainties began to converge with choices, she understood that her journey had only just begun. What if her choice to leave behind Maplewood also led her to fiercely protect those who felt lost? Let us sort this out together, she whispered, holding out her hand. Would he take it? As she watched him cautiously glance at her, another question loomed. Would this festival turn out to be not just an ending but a beginning of something she never expected? Emily's heart raced as she knelt in front of the boy, her hand outstretched. For a moment, the world around them faded. The usual sounds of laughter and music softened into the background, leaving only the gentle rustle of leaves overhead and the quiet sobs of the child in front of her. He hesitated, his big brown eyes darting from her hand to her face. There was something profoundly broken in him, a sense of isolation that made her want to scream for his parents. You're safe here, I promise, she urged gently, her voice soothing like a balm. His small hand trembled as he reached out, eventually taking hers. Emily's heart swelled, filling with determination. It felt like a pact, an unspoken agreement that they would work together to mend this moment. She pulled him toward her, giving him a reassuring smile. "What's your name?" she asked softly. "Jake," he murmured, wiping his tears on his sleeve. "Well, Jake," she said, glancing around at the wreckage of the pie stall, "let's clean this up. It looks like a pie war in here." For the first time, a small smile peeked through the drudgery on his face. Together, they began to pick up the pie plates, and Emily marveled at how the community had shifted from whispers of concern to proactive help. A few festival-goers came over to assist them, picking up splattered pie tin and debris. Jake's eyes widened as a middle-aged man handed him a piece of a still intact pie. "Here you go, buddy. This one's a winner." The man chuckled, and it made Jake giggle despite his earlier fear. Emily felt warmth spreading in her chest. Moments like this reminded her why she loved her community so much. They stepped in, not out of obligation, but out of genuine care. She beamed at Jake, who was clearly more relaxed now. "What was the scariest part?" she asked, hoping to distract him from any lingering upset. I thought I lost my mom," he confessed quietly, staring down at his shoes. The admission tugged at Emily's heartstrings. "I've lost my way 2 more times than I can count. But you know what? Sometimes it leads us to really great places." His eyes met hers, wide with curiosity. "Like where?" "Like here," she gestured to the festival, now waking back up around them, and then to the vibrant colors of stalls selling crafts and delicious food. "And sometimes, the unknown is just a chance to shine light on new paths." "Do you really think so?" Jake asked, brushing away the last remnants of tears. "Absolutely," she affirmed, patting his shoulder. "You get to decide what happens next, and that makes you brave." With that, the festival resumed its lively harmony. Laughter burst around them as people resumed their booths, and Emily could feel the building excitement. Yet, in the whirlwind of joy and chaos, a part of her couldn't shake the weight of Jake's earlier fear. "You ready to find your mom?" she asked, and Jake nodded eagerly, a new glint in his eyes. Holding hands, they made their way back into the crowd. Emily scanned the faces, her heart racing. What if this child was more connected to her journey than she'd ever expected? But just as they approached the main stage, a convoy of children rushed by, giggling as they chased colorful balloons. "Mom!" Jake suddenly shouted, his eyes lighting up. Emily turned just in time to see a woman racing forward, arms wide open. The relief on the woman's face mirrored the release Emily felt. She watched the reunion, her heart swelling with that familiar warmth, a reminder of why she was venturing beyond Maplewood. This connection was universal, as vital as the air they breathed. As they stepped back, Emily noticed the man from earlier watching from the edge of the crowd, his expression inscrutable. Had he been observing the impact of this moment? The significance felt larger than this quaint festival. "So, what's next for you, Emily?" A voice interrupted her thoughts. It was Sarah, who had just joined them, adrenaline in her step. Emily smiled, but in her mind, another question loomed. If helping Jake had felt so right, what other adventures lay ahead, waiting to unfold? What if her journey into the unknown was not just about herself, but about others too? The music swelled around them, creating a mesmerizing backdrop. Would her desire to explore change the very fabric of who she was? Would she dare to find out? Emily was caught in her own thoughts, the moment so sweet yet heavy with potential. She felt comforted by the laughter around her, but a nagging question remained, was there more to her journey than just the festival? "Emily, are you coming?" Sarah waved her hand, breaking her reverie. "Yeah. Just a second," she said with a smile, shaking off the contemplative fog that had settled over her. Together, they stepped deeper into the festival, the vibrant colors and sounds wrapping around them like a warm hug. As they strolled past a booth with homemade candles flickering in the afternoon sun, Emily spotted a familiar face, a young woman with golden hair and a warm smile, surrounded by a group of children. Jessica, the town's elementary school teacher. She was always the first to volunteer, always uplifting others. "Hey, Jessica!" Emily called out, waving excitedly. Jessica turned, her face lighting up. "Emily! It's wonderful to see you here. How's it going?" "Great. Just helping a little guy named Jake find his mom. Did you see?" Emily gestured towards the vibrant crowd as memories from moments before flushed through her. "Oh, that was precious. You really have a gift with kids." Jessica's praise felt like a warm blanket. "Thanks, but honestly, I just wanted him to feel safe." Emily took a deep breath, feeling a swell of pride and humility at the same time. Sometimes we underestimate what a small gesture can mean. Jessica's eyes sparkled with knowing. You never know when you might change someone's life for the better. Emily nodded, feeling that statement ripple deep within her. What if each small act was part of a bigger plan? As they chatted, Jake rejoined them, his face aglow after finding his mother. He stood there a little shyly, clutching a pie slice, a victory of sorts in his small hand. "Emily, guess what? I got the blueberry one." Jake beamed, his earlier fears now part of the past. He showed off the pie slice as if it were a trophy. "Oh, that's awesome!" Emily exclaimed, voicing the joy that radiated from him. Suddenly, they all heard a loud cheer erupt from the main stage. The festival's highlight was about to begin, a pie-eating contest. Laughter and encouragement filled the air. Upon catching sight of it, Jake's eyes widened again. "Can I go watch?" he exclaimed excitedly. "Of course. Let's check it out together," Emily suggested. As they wandered closer to the stage, Emily felt an undeniable sense of belonging, not just to the space but to something greater. She was part of this vibrant tapestry, weaving through shared laughter and collective hopes. But just then, Emily caught sight of that man again, the one who had been observing. He stood there, arms crossed, watching intently as if something about her was intriguing. She turned away, shaking her head as if to dismiss the thought. Why did he seem so out of place? "Hey, Emily! Look at that!" Jake pointed, pulling her attention back to the stage where an exuberant host was announcing the contestants, faces smeared with pies and laughter echoing around them. As Emily laughed with the crowd, she couldn't help but feel this uncanny notion that her small moments of hope might lead to something far more significant than a fun day at the festival. What could that man possibly want, and why did it feel like the pull of fate was stronger than just a day spent with friends? Suddenly, amidst the excitement, Jake tugged at her sleeve, eyes wide with wonder. "Emily, do you think I could be brave enough to join the contest next year?" Her heart swelled again, and thoughts raced. What a journey that might be for him and for her. What would it mean to truly step out of their comfort zones? Just as the first pie was thrown in animated chaos, Emily couldn't shake the feeling that something was brewing amid the joy. Was there more waiting just around the corner, entwined with their collective laughter? In that moment, she knew that this was only the beginning. The pie-eating contest erupted in full swing, laughter and cheers echoing as contestants dove into the sticky, sweet chaos. Emily leaned down to Jake, excitement radiating from him like a beacon. "Next year, we'll practice every weekend," she promised, and his eyes sparkled with dreams of victory. The crowd was vibrant, a sea of colors and laughter, yet Emily felt a flicker of unease. That stranger's gaze was like a thread pulling on her heart, something undeniable and unsettling. She shook her head, pushing the feeling away. Focus on the moment. Focus on Jake. When the announcer called for volunteers from the audience to join in the fun and get messy with the pies, Jake squealed in delight. "Can I?" he asked, bouncing on his toes. "Please, Emily. Let us see what they need," she replied, excitement bubbling up. Together they made their way to the front stage where a group of parents and kids were already forming a line to join in. As Emily encouraged Jake, she felt his small hand squeeze hers. "You got this," she said, shoving down any nerve she had of her own. The rules were simple, and the host's words filled the air with playful energy. Each contestant had to eat as much pie as they could within a minute. The sound of eager giggles and playful shouts surrounded them, pulling her into the bubble of joy. It was in events like these, she realized, how connections formed within the community. She was swept into a world of laughter, each face illuminated by the festival lights. Suddenly, she caught that stranger's eyes again, narrowing her focus. He stood at the edge of the crowd, still observing, his brow furrowed as if he was caught in a storm of thoughts. What did he see in her? She swallowed, confusion mixing with curiosity. "Emily. Look." Jake squealed as one of the young contestants collapsed in a fit of giggles, blueberry pie splattering all over her parents. Emily couldn't help but laugh, momentarily forgetting her worry. Children were loving the impulsiveness of the moment, and the vibrant air filled with joy became intoxicating. Then, Jake was up. He climbed onto the stage, standing beside other enthusiastic participants who looked equally thrilled and frightened. The host welcomed him warmly. "Are you ready to get messy, young man?" With a determined nod, Jake grinned ear to ear. The whistle blew, and the frenzy began. Faces turned to a delightful mess as pies disappeared from plates under delighted cheers. Jake's laughter carved through the noise, his small hands battling the pie with vigor. Emily's heart swelled as she joined the crowd, chanting his name alongside other parents. But behind her smile, she could not shake the stranger's presence. Just as Jake emerged from the mound of blueberry goodness, smirking and giggling with pie smeared on his face, the man stepped forward, breaking the crowd's energy. He approached Emily directly. "Excuse me," he said, his voice deep and steady, "you have a knack for bringing out bravery in kids." Emily's heart raced. Was this odd moment within the festival building or breaking the day? Thank you," she managed, glancing quickly at Jake, who was basking in his messy, triumphant glory. "I'm Nolan," he introduced himself, concern and a flicker of warmth dancing in his eyes. "Do you ever think maybe, it's time to dream bigger?" Her breath caught in her throat. What could he possibly mean by that? Here, in this moment of laughter and pies, how could she even begin to fathom the layers beneath his simple question? Before she could respond, laughter erupted again as Jake held up his winning pie slice. "Look what I won!" he exclaimed, and the crowd roared in applause, distracting them both momentarily. But for Emily, the magic of that moment lingered in the air, heavy with possibility. As the festivities swirled around them, Emily felt a stirring within her. Soon, this pie-smeared joy would fade into the sound of the festival's end, but would she dare explore the journey that awaited beyond this day? What lay ahead tantalized her spirit and filled her with hope. Because deep down, she sensed that Jake's small victory might just be a doorway to something more, something she wasn't ready to imagine yet. And as she exchanged glances with Nolan, the whisper of fate tickled the back of her mind. Was it time to embrace the unknown waiting just outside the festival gates? As Emily watched Jake parade around the stage, proudly displaying his pie-smeared trophy, the noise of the crowd fell a little farther away. Her heart raced not only from joy but from a confusion that simmered beneath the surface. Nolan's words replayed in her mind like a catchy tune, "Dream bigger." What did that mean for her, a single mom with small dreams focused on her son's happiness? "Hey, Emily. Come on." Jake called out, tugging at her sleeve, his eyes sparkling with excitement. He's just a kid, she thought, with a world that feels so big and bright. She smiled, kneeling to scoop him up into a hug. "I'm so proud of you, buddy. You were amazing." Nolan watched them from a few paces away, his expression softening. It was as if he could see more than just the joyful mother and son. Emily could feel the warmth of his gaze but didn't know what to make of it. Why was he so interested in her? "Mom. Look what I got. Jake waved the trophy wildly in the air, still dripping with pie crust and whipped cream. The sheer joy in his voice pulled her back into the moment, and she couldn't help but laugh. You're a champion. She cheered, unaware of the ripple of attention they had drawn. The energy around them felt electric, and for the first time that day, Emily put aside her worries. She was here, present and connected, not just to Jake but to the community and to the moment. But, as the contest came to a close, the feeling began to wane. The laughter slowed, the crowd dispersed, and a cool breeze whispered through the festival grounds. Emily felt that strange mix of melancholy and hope, like the bittersweet aftertaste of a favorite dessert. Can we do this every year, Mom? Jake asked as they started to stroll back toward the festival's edge. This was the best day ever. Absolutely, she promised, though part of her hesitated. Could she really commit? What if life got in the way? What if dreams were just that fleeting sparks in a busy world? Before she could spiral into her thoughts once again, Nolan had stepped forward, re-entering the bubble of their private celebration. Can I speak with you for a moment? He was respectful, but there was an urgency in his voice that made Emily's pulse race. Just a minute, Jake. I'll be right back, she said, watching as Jake scampered off to chase a couple of his friends who were gleefully splashing through the puddles of dishwater near the contest area. Nolan gestured toward where the festival's main attractions were winding down. I don't want to interrupt your day, but there is something I think you should know, something I've noticed about you. Emily held her breath. Her instincts leaned toward caution. I'm really not sure what you mean your energy. Your positive influence, people notice it. I see it in Jake, and I see it in others. His gaze turned serious. And, honestly, it's refreshing. She felt a rush of warmth wash over her. Thank you, but I'm just doing what I can. I've got to make sure Jake is happy. Nolan stepped closer, his tone dropping to something almost conspiratorial. What if there was a chance for you both to do more? To explore opportunities that could change everything? Emily blinked, confusion and intrigue swirling together in her mind. What was he hinting at? Did he mean to suggest that she venture beyond the limits of her current life into something unknown? Like what? She asked, her heart thudding loudly in her chest, unsure whether to feel hopeful or fearful. Just think about it. I'll be around, he said, providing a mysterious smile, before melting back into the crowd. Jake ran up, composed of boundless energy, ready to share tales of play. But Emily stood still, heart racing, thoughts cluttered. What had just happened? What were her dreams even worth? Could she really dare to reach for something beyond this festival, beyond what she thought she knew? Mom. Jake's voice broke through, pulling her back into reality. But as she looked at him, her mind danced with the question that shimmered like a promise in the air. Could this be the beginning of something she never thought possible? Before she could answer, Jake tugged her hand, and she knew one certainty: they were heading home, but not without a new spark ignited. What choices lay ahead of her, waiting to be discovered? And would she have the courage to chase after them? The ride home was filled with chatter about Jake's trophy and the pie-eating contest, but Emily felt the weight of Nolan's words like stones in her pocket. Each laugh from Jake pulled her momentarily into a world of innocence, but the questions remained: what if? As they pulled into their driveway, evening shadows stretched long across the front yard. Jake hopped out of the car before she even turned off the engine, bounding toward the house as if his feet were made of springs. Emily took a moment, breathing in the familiar scent of cut grass mixed with the lingering sweetness of the festival treats. Mom, come on. Let us see if the trophy fits on the shelf. Jake's shout pierced through her thoughts. His excitement was contagious, yet Emily still lingered on the possibilities Nolan had hinted at. What opportunities did he see? Could a single mom really dream bigger? She followed him inside, finding her footing as she adjusted to the reality of their evening routine. Dinner first, then the trophy display. Simple tasks, but tonight they felt ensnared in something larger. Hours later, dinner was done, and Jake was filling their small living room with the tales of his heroic pie-eating efforts. Emily watched him, her heart swelling with pride. He was the center of her world, and yet an unsettling thought rose up: what about me? She couldn't forget Nolan's voice, calling her to explore her own potentials. After tucking Jake in for the night, she stumbled into the living room with the fading daylight. The quiet was almost overwhelming. The walls seemed to absorb the noise, and for a moment, it was as if the whole world held its breath alongside her. Emily sank onto the couch, glancing at her phone. She had a few missed messages, mostly friends sharing photos from the festival. But one stood out. It was from Nolan. "Hey Emily, it was great seeing you today. If you're interested, I'd love to grab coffee and talk more about opportunities. Just think about it. No pressure," smiley face. Part of her wanted to dismiss it, to laugh off the idea of meeting up for coffee. But another part lit up at the thought. What if he wanted to share something more? Was that too forward? What was her life becoming, turning a simple invitation into a life-altering situation? She hesitated before responding, her fingers hovering over the screen. The idea of embarking on a path she had never considered was thrilling and terrifying. What did dreaming bigger even look like? With a deep breath, Emily finally typed back, "Sure, I'd like that. When are you free?" Sending it felt like letting go of a balloon. It floated into the unknown, and she felt a brief rush of exhilaration mixed with anxiety. Emily tried to settle into bed, but sleep eluded her. What if taking this step led her somewhere unexpected? What if it opened doors she never knew existed? Morning came sooner than she wanted, and life resumed its usual pace. Jake buzzed with energy at breakfast, blissfully unaware of the turmoil brewing in his mother's heart. As she watched him, she realized that the choices she made in the upcoming days could ripple out beyond just her. Maybe they could change everything for them both. After dropping Jake off at school, Emily felt the sting of uncertainty tugging at her. She didn't have any idea where this path with Nolan might lead or how dreaming bigger would ignite change. But a small, quiet voice in her told her it was time to find out. Emily took a deep breath as she drove home, a decision forming in her mind. What if the leap into the unknown not only changed her, but gave Jake an even greater perspective on life? Her heart raced with a mix of dread and hope. The day ahead held countless possibilities, but more importantly, maybe it could ignite a spark for both of them. And just as she reached the front door, her phone chimed with a new message. The timing was too perfect. Could this be the push she needed? She felt excitement swell anew. What would the day bring? But at that moment, the uncertainty of the day crackled in the air, and that was the moment Emily knew. She was ready, or was she? The moment she stepped inside, her phone chimed again, breaking her thoughts. It was a confirmation from Nolan about their coffee date. They'd meet the next afternoon at a cozy cafe downtown known for its artisanal pastries. A wave of anticipation washed over her, battling the twinges of anxiety that accompanied every new step. Emily busied herself around the house, fidgeting between chores, trying to shake off the unease building in her chest. Skimming the dishes, she caught a glimpse of Jake's latest superhero drawing on the fridge door, and that familiar warmth enveloped her. He was everything to her: his laughter, his hopes, and dreams. The thought of exploring her own aspirations felt daunting against the backdrop of his youthful energy. With each tick of the clock, the day drew closer to their coffee meeting. It would be a simple encounter, yet it echoed something deeper. For the first time in years, Emily felt as though someone was offering her a glimpse into a world beyond her daily routine, and it made her heart flutter. As she stirred the spaghetti sauce simmering on the stove that evening, she replayed the day's events in her mind. The warm aroma wafted through the kitchen, but her thoughts were elsewhere. Could she really find opportunities? Could there be something out there that could not only fulfill her but broaden the horizons for Jake as well? Dinner that night was lively. Jake animatedly recounted his school day, full of antics and laughter. Yet, occasionally, his sparkling eyes met hers, and in those moments, she could sense a shift. He was aware of something, the excitement buzzing in the air felt tangible to him. "Mom, are you okay? You seem a little different tonight," he asked, tilting his head, his brows slightly furrowed. She forced a smile, ruffling his hair, but internally, the question lingered. Would he embrace her longing for more? "I'm just thinking about some things," she replied, choosing to keep the details of her ambitions close to her heart for now. "But it's all good, I promise." They finished dinner, and after Jake went to bed, Emily returned to the living room, the quietness wrapping around her like a heavy blanket. The invitation to coffee echoed in her mind. What would she even say? What if he asked her about her dreams? What if she didn't have any to share? Emily glanced around her home, the furniture adorned with mementos of Jake's childhood, things that had once felt filling but now felt confining. She wanted to believe that she could reshape her reality. She could refashion their lives into something more than just what they had settled for. The next day arrived, bright and clear. As she dressed, she caught her reflection in the mirror. The woman looking back at her seemed different. Suddenly, she didn't see the tired mother. She saw someone who was ready to take charge, someone who wanted to become a role model for her son, a beacon showing him that dreams are worth chasing. When it was nearly time to meet Nolan, Emily slid her phone into her bag and took a deep breath. Stepping out into the world, she felt a rush of confidence mixed with a flutter of fear. After all these years, she was taking a leap into the unknown, and it felt exhilarating. As she walked to the cafe, thoughts of Jake flooded her mind. Would this search for opportunity lead to a better life for him? Her heart raced with the possibilities ahead. She'd make not just a change for herself, but for her son too. When she finally approached the cafe, the warm aroma of roasted coffee beans welcomed her. The sunlight peeked through the windows, illuminating the chatter of patrons inside. There, at a table near the window, was Nolan, waiting for her with an easy smile that instantly put her at ease. "Hey, you actually made it," he greeted, standing as she approached. "Of course, I wouldn't miss it," she replied, her nervousness beginning to dissolve. They settled into conversation easily, quickly finding common ground. As they discussed work and life, Emily felt the barriers of apprehension fading away, replaced by a sense of connection and possibility. But just as she began to feel at home in this new dynamic, Nolan's phone buzzed on the table, drawing his attention. "I'm sorry, I have to take this," he said, holding his finger up as he looked at the screen. Watching him speak, a knot formed in her stomach. Who was on the other end? And just then, Emily's phone lit up in her pocket. Another message was waiting, one that could change everything once again. What could it possibly be? She took a breath, glancing back at Nolan and then at her phone, and in that moment, the weight of unknown possibilities swirled around her. What would she discover next, and how far was she willing to go for her dreams? Emily's heart pounded as she held her phone, the familiar uncertainty mingling with the thrill of possibility. She glanced over at Nolan, whose conversation had taken on a serious tone. Should she check the message now or wait until he was done? With a rush of impulse, she opened it. It was a simple text from Sarah, asking if they could meet up later to chat about life, a promise of laughter and friendship. But beneath that surface, the message held significance. What was a conversation with her friend compared to what was brewing right before her? Nolan hung up the call and caught her glance. "Everything okay?" She nodded. "Just a text from a friend," she said, not quite ready to share the deeper shift unfolding in her heart. "I've been thinking a lot." His gaze softened. "That's good. What do you think about?" "Where I'm headed. My life." "You know the unknown," she replied, feeling a rush of honesty that surprised her. "Embracing the unknown takes courage." He leaned in closer, that same warmth she had seen before burning brightly in his eyes. "When I first moved out of my comfort zone, it scared me to death. But every leap I took has led me to amazing places." Emily felt a flicker of ambition ignite within her. What do you do, exactly, that has you so passionate? He smiled, his enthusiasm like a magnet drawing her in. I'm involved in community projects, nonprofits, local development. I believe in investing in people and helping them realize their potential. It's the most rewarding work I've ever done. She studied him, a curious spark igniting as she imagined doing something similar. So you're saying you see potential in others? Even in unexpected places? Exactly, he affirmed, leaning back while crossing his arms. I can see it in you. The statement sent a jolt of exhilaration through her. Did she truly resonate with someone's belief in her? But how do I even start? The question escaped before she could contain it, the weight of her dreams suddenly palpable. Nolan leaned forward again, earnest. You've already taken the first step by being here. What if you started small? Look at what you've done in your community. You're helping people every day. Emily blinked, grappling with the idea. But what if I'm just one person? What can I really change? He raised an eyebrow, his voice steady. You'd be surprised how much a single person can impact their community. Look at what you did for that boy Jake at the festival. In that moment, an epiphany struck like lightning. The memory of Jake, the connection they had built through simple gestures, lit up the corners of her mind. She thought about how every person represented a story waiting to unfold. I suppose every little change counts, she whispered, the truth washing over her. Nolan smiled warmly. More than you know. Pursuing your dreams doesn't mean abandoning your roots. You can weave them together. Her heart swelled with possibilities, and in that moment, the doubts and fears that had blanketed her for so long began to lift. She felt stronger, more grounded. Maybe you're right, she admitted. Maybe I need to stop being afraid of seeking growth. You've got this, Emily. It takes time. Every small step can lead to something much bigger, he encouraged, and it felt like a beacon in the fog. Just then, laughter erupted from outside the cafe, drawing their attention. A group of children was playing on the sidewalk, joy spilling over the edge of their carefree actions. Jake's lilting laughter rang out clear as a bell, and Emily's heart warmed at the sight of him, so full of life. Look at him, she said, smiling at Nolan. He is so brave. I want him to know he can dream big too, just like you said. It starts with me showing him that it's okay to take risks. Nolan nodded, his gaze shifting back to her. You're already being that inspiration for him. Just don't underestimate the strength of your own journey. It can open doors for both of you. As their conversation continued, Emily felt a surge of hope and determination replace the tension that had once gripped her heart. She envisioned the future filled with community service, mentoring, and inspiration. A future where both she and Jake flourished. I'd love to be part of something bigger, Emily announced, excitement rekindling within her. To help others discover their courage too. That's the spirit. Nolan grinned, reaching across the table, his hand resting reassuringly on hers. Let's brainstorm some ideas together. Each rub of his thumb against her knuckles felt like a promise, a commitment to a journey she'd only just begun to fathom. As they chatted about initiatives and dreams, Emily realized she was on the cusp of a transformation. She felt alive, embarking on an adventure that could ripple through Maplewood, inspiring others to dare to dream. When she checked her phone again, she saw another text from Sarah waiting. Yet, instead of feeling torn, she felt a sense of balance. She could nurture her friendships while embracing this new direction. Emily's laughter mingled with the bustling sounds of the cafe, her spirit lifting with each passing moment. The journey to the unknown was unfolding before her, vibrant and full of possibility. Let's make this happen, she said with renewed conviction, her heart brimming with warmth. And at that moment, she found a connection not just with Nolan, but with the world around her. The festival that had once illuminated her memories now served as a foundation for a bright, ambitious future. With newfound clarity and fervor, Emily knew this was only the beginning. Her leap into the unknown was bound to touch so many lives including her own. And thus, she stood ready to claim her story and shine the light for those still searching for their way. This was the moment she had been waiting for, the beginning of a beautiful transformation, not just for her, but for her community and for Jake. Their leap into the unknown was only just beginning. Now is the time for you to take action. You need to subscribe immediately to the channel to not miss the next exclusive stories. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm. Comment your reactions and feelings about the ending. Share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. Don't wait not even one more second to share. Only true fans understand the importance of supporting the channel with your actions.